I'm Liyana Hassanel and you're tuning into Nightline. The top stories. Moscow concert hall attack. All registered Malaysians in Moscow are safe. And dispute over missing money, probable cause behind death of vocational college student. The headlining story. Russia on Saturday arrested 11 people, including 4 gunmen, suspected of carrying out a shooting massacre in a concert hall near Moscow late on Friday. According to the FSB security service, the suspects had contacts in Ukraine and were captured near the border, adding that they were being transferred to Moscow. The IS group earlier claimed responsibility for the rampage, but there were indications that Russia was pursuing a Ukrainian link. However, neither Russian President Vladimir Putin nor the FSB publicly presented any proof of such link, whereas the Ukrainian officials strongly denied any involvement from Kyiv. The attack on March 22nd resulted in the deaths of over 133 people and left more than 145 others injured. It started when assailants dressed in camouflage uniforms opened fire and reportedly threw explosive devices inside the concert venue, leaving it engulfed in flames with its roof collapsing after the deadly attack. This incident marks one of the deadliest attacks in Russia since the 2004 Beslan school siege, where 334 people, including 186 children, were killed. Amidst the chaos and devastation of the Moscow's rampage, survivors came out with harrowing tales of horror and loss.
А мы слышим, что залпы идут, они не прекращались, эти залпы. И потом мы спустились вниз на самое какое-то нулевое темное помещение, и я вижу только выход слова, и не знаешь, вроде бы бежать, кто там в темноте, что там в темноте. Первые побежали, дверь открылась, я увидел, что уже улица. Муж меня схватил, мы как бы выбрались на улицу. А остальные, которые шли за нами, они пошли еще дальше вниз.
Это невероятно. Это сейчас только понимаешь, что ты просто счастливчик, везунчик, тебе повезло. Я приехала домой, моя куртка была просто в крови. Кто-то, видимо, собой закрывал. Они просто шли, и сзади меня были люди, они собой закрывали как бы, меня, получается. Меня, мою родню и тех, кто был со мной рядом.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin described the attack as a barbaric terrorist act and announced a day of national mourning. In a televised address to the nation, he said that all those responsible for the deadly attack would be punished.
Все исполнители, организаторы и заказчики этого преступления понесут справедливое и неизбежное наказание, кем бы они ни были, кто бы их ни направлял. Повторю. Мы установим и покараем каждого, кто стоит за спиной террористов, кто готовил это злодеяние, этот удар по России, по нашему народу. В настоящее время можно сказать следующее.
Datuk Sri Anar Ibrahim on Saturday conveyed his deepest sympathies and profound condolences to the victims, their families, and the people of Russia following the deadly attack at a concert hall in Moscow on Friday. The Prime Minister said such a gruesome and barbaric rampage had no place in the civilized world. In a social media posting on Saturday, Anwar highlighted the calculated nature of the attack, noting that targeting a major concert hall, a symbol of culture, was intended to inflict maximum damage. He stressed that atrocities like these cannot be associated with Islam or any religion, reaffirming the need to prevent such evil acts from overshadowing the peaceful teachings of the world's great faiths. Reiterating Malaysia's commitment to combat terrorism, Anwar stated that Malaysia stands ready to collaborate with all partners, including the Russian Federation, in the fight against terrorism. In the meantime, Wisma Putra confirmed that all registered Malaysians in Moscow are safe. It said all registered Malaysian citizens and students in the city had been accounted for. In a statement on Saturday, the Foreign Ministry, via the Malaysian Embassy in Moscow, advised all Malaysians and Malaysian students to stay updated on the latest development and follow the guidance provided by the local authorities. The ministry also strongly condemned the attack, which killed at least 133 people and left more than 145 injured, adding that it also reiterated Malaysia's stance against terrorism and violent extremism in all forms and manifestations. Meanwhile, Malaysian students contacted by TV3 reported that the situation in the area is currently under control. However, all students have been advised not to leave as a precautionary measure.
Keadaan di sini semua selamat saja.
Dan pihak embassy juga telah menasihatkan kepada semua pelajar untuk tidak keluar sehingga hari Ahad atau sehingga diberitahu selanjutnya.
Pihak hostel sendiri juga telah mengeluarkan notis curfew kepada semua pelajar agar tidak keluar dari pukul 11 malam hingga 6 pagi.
Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli has been asked to explain the issue concerning registrations on Padu, the federal government's central database hub, following concerns that have been raised by Sarawak. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anar Ibrahim said Rafizi will clarify the matter to the cabinet next week.
Dia akan berikan beberapa kebimbangan persoalan dibangkitkan, jadi saya minta supaya Menteri Ekonomi teliti dan jelaskan ke Jemaah Menteri ke depan.
He said this when asked to comment on the call by the Sarawak government to delay the registration and updating of information on Padu in the state. The Prime Minister was met by reporters after a walkabout at the Mahkota Square Ramadan Bazaar in Kuantan, Pahang on Saturday. He was accompanied by Pahang Menteri Besar, Datuk Seri Wan Rosdi Wan Ismail and other state officials. Earlier, upon arrival at the bazaar, Anwar coincidentally crossed paths with Sultan of Pahang, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah. Accompanied by his wife, Tunku Ampuan of Pahang, Tunku Aziza Amina Maimunah Iskandaria, Al-Sultan Abdullah met Anwar at the entrance of the bazaar at around 6:35 p.m. as they both sought food for breaking fast. As part of the Prime Minister's visit to the state, Anwar also had an audience with the Pahang ruler at Istana Abdul Aziz earlier on Saturday evening. Later, during a breaking of fast event, Anwar expressed hope for Muslims in the country not to treat Ramadan as any other month, but as a special month for them to increase their acts of worship. The Prime Minister said the Quran was revealed in Ramadan as guidance for humanity, adding that Muslims should understand, appreciate and practice the teachings of the Holy Book in their daily lives.
Pimpinan politik, penjawat awam, peniaga-peniaga, termasuk peniaga-peniaga di gerai, ingat Ramadan ini memberi kita ujian, memberi peluang untuk diuji dan pastikan ada kewibawaan, ada akhlak, ada nilai yang kita pertahankan, ada integriti.
Anar added that a good Muslim has high morals, does not cheat, and does not engage in bribery or stealing. The Prime Minister was speaking at the state-level Madani Breaking a Fast event in Kuantan, Pahang. Held at Tunku Ampuan Afzan Mosque in Indra Mahkota, the event was also attended by Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail and Pahang Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Wan Rosdi Wan Ismail. After breaking fast, Anwar performed Maghrib prayers with the congregants, led by the Imam of the Tunku Ampuan Afzan Mosque, Muhammad Hafiz Muhammad Suhaili, before departing for Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia will be sending a total of 100 containers with 1,358 tons of goods comprising various donations to Gaza through the 4th humanitarian aid mission launched on Saturday. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi officiated at the flagging off of the Malaysian 100 container emergency humanitarian aid mission from Cairo to Gaza at the Royal Malaysian Air Force base in Subang. At the Subang ceremony, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim was also present momentarily to give support to the mission. Led by the Consultative Council of Malaysian Islamic Organisations, MAPIM, before leaving for Kuantan, Pahang on official business. Zahid said the government is determined to defend the fate of the people of Gaza and Palestine in any situation, and will organise help at various levels involving agencies and organisations such as MAPIM, Ob Ihsan and others.
Kekhawatiran kita ialah kira-kira mengikut laporan Bangsa Bersatu, kira-kira 1 juta penduduk Gaza akan dan sedang mengalami kebuluran, ya, dan ini mengundang simpati dunia keseluruhannya.
He stressed that the Prime Minister is also committed to helping MAPIM deliver these goods, which are largely bought in Egypt, especially in Cairo. Zahid also said Anwar is expected to contact Egyptian President Abdul Fattah el-Sisi to discuss the Malaysian aid mission run by MAPIM to facilitate the process of sending donations to Gaza. The delivery of 100 containers in the form of basic goods, including wheat flour, food boxes, mother and baby items, which are worth 12 million ringgit in total, is set to leave for the Egyptian capital of Cairo on Sunday. Dispute over missing money is believed to be the reason that led to the death of a vocational college student who was found dead in a dormitory room on Friday. Lahad Datu District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Rohan Ahmad Shah said initial investigation showed the incident started after 2 students at the vocational college complained about loss of money. In a statement on Saturday, Rohan said that the victim was accused of stealing 50 ringgit from one student and 35 ringgit from another before he was fatally beaten by the suspects. So far, police have arrested 13 students aged between 16 and 19 to facilitate investigation into the case. All the suspects arrested in connection with the case have been remanded for 6 days until March 29th. Rohan Shah said 12 smartphones were also seized from the suspects to assist in the investigation, and that all the suspects tested negative for drugs. Police have also recorded statements from 12 witnesses, including 4 dormitory wardens, security guards, and college students. Authorities also are still waiting for the full forensic autopsy report of the victim to determine the actual cause of death. In the meantime, the Education Ministry stressed that it will provide full cooperation into the investigations of Nazmi's death. It said it has taken action by providing welfare assistance to the victim's family, as well as psychosocial support to the families, students, teachers, and the entire college community. In a statement on Saturday, the ministry said that it is ready to provide its full cooperation in the investigation into the death of Nazmi. It also said that it will not compromise with the misconduct of bullying in all educational institutions under its management. On Friday, it was reported that 17-year-old Nazmi was found dead on the floor with injuries and bruises on several parts of the body in the dormitory. Schools at locations with level 1 hot weather status or recording temperatures exceeding 35 degrees Celsius are advised to suspend all activities outside the classroom temporarily. Health Director General Dr. Muhammad Radzi Abu Hassan said if the weather escalates to a heatwave status, the Education Ministry can take the necessary course of action in accordance with existing heatwave management guidelines, including school closure. Dr. Radzi said the Education Ministry could take further action if the weather changes to heatwave status, as contained in its guidelines for the closure of educational institutions during hot weather issued on April 18, 2023. Other documents laid out in the action plan for managing heat waves are the 2016 Heat Wave Action Plan and the 2021 Heat Wave Health Risk Management Action Plan by the Health Ministry. He said this following a notice by the Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, that said several locations nationwide will see hot and dry weather until next month. Level 1 refers to a daily maximum temperature of 35 to 37 degrees Celsius for at least 3 consecutive days, while heatwave status refers to daily maximum temperatures above 37 degrees Celsius. On Friday, Met Malaysia said Perlis has been hit with the level 2 heat wave, which refers to the daily maximum temperature reaching 37 to 40 degrees Celsius for at least 3 consecutive days. Met Malaysia also identified 12 areas in the peninsula under level 1: Langkawi, Pokok Sena, Kubang Pasu, Padang Terak, Sek, Baling, Kuala Muda, Pendang, and Kota Setar in Kedah, as well as Hulu Perak, Kuala Kangsar, and Kinta in Perak. Dr. Radzi said prolonged exposure to hot weather can be harmful to health, especially to high-risk groups such as children, the elderly, and those with chronic diseases. As such, she advised parents to ensure that children drink enough water, and those who are fasting are recommended to drink sufficient water during sahur and iftar. India court effectively bans madrasas in big state. News from the foreign front when we return.
Kanda, Ramadan tahun ni lagi drama daripada biasa. Marilah teman Adinda jam 10 malam di TV3. Daddy Duda 17 Mac. Pelangi yang hilang 24 Mac. Ramadan I Miss You 31 Mac. Lukisan Hati Umar 7 April. Ramadan Raya macam dolu-dolu di Cerita Ahad TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Syiha, kau tak haus ke? Pelan-pelan. Kan segabur nak, oi.
Dia berkata kena cergas.
Pandai tak ibu masak?
Pandai sangat. Paling pandai.
Kalau nanti kita tumbuk ni, takut nanti
belah dua.
Bukan belah dua. Takut roboh.
Oi, terkuat pula.
Tu, jangan kau buat tak mau.
Malangnya aku berbuka dengan kau.
Buka apa tu? Dah buka ke?
Onto the foreign front. Fighting raged on Saturday around Gaza's main hospital, where Israel says it has so far killed more than 170 people in an extensive raid, which the Palestinian Health Ministry says has also resulted in the deaths of 5 patients. The Gaza Health Ministry said 5 wounded Palestinians besieged inside Al-Shifa died as a result of being denied proper care, water and food for the past 6 days, and that the condition of other injured patients was deteriorating. The Zionist regime's tanks had also hit several buildings at Al-Shifa Hospital and set fire to a surgery department, while around 240 patients and their companions, as well as dozens of healthcare staff, had been detained. Elsewhere in Gaza City, several Palestinians were killed and wounded at the Kuwait roundabout while they waited for 8 trucks. Meanwhile, UN Chief Antonio Guterres, who was on a visit to the doorstep of Gaza on Saturday, said a long line of blocked relief trucks on Egypt's side of the border with the Gaza Strip, where people face starvation, is a moral outrage. He said that it was time for Israel to give an ironclad commitment for unfettered access to humanitarian goods throughout Gaza.
A long line of blocked relief trucks on one side of the gates, the long shadow of starvation on the other. That is more than tragic. It is a moral outrage. Any further onslaught will make things even worse. Worse for Palestinian civilians, worse for the hostages, and worse for all people of the region. All this demonstrates that it is more than time for an immediate ceasefire. I say it again. It is time for an ironclad commitment by Israel for total and unfettered access for humanitarian goods throughout Gaza.
A court in India essentially banned Islamic schools in the country's most populous state, a move that could further distance many Muslims from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalist government ahead of national elections. The Allahabad High Court in Uttar Pradesh state scrapped a 2004 law governing madrasas in the state on Friday, stating that the law on Islamic schools violates constitutional secularism. Judges Subhash Vidyarthi and Vivek Chaudhary said the state government, however, will ensure that the children between the ages of 6 and 14 years are not left without admission in duly recognized institutions. Meanwhile, head of the Board of Madrasa Education in the state, Iftikhar Ahmad Javed, said this move will affect 2.7 million students and around 10,000 teachers in 25,000 madrasas. The schools, part of Indian states with Muslim populations for decades, are centered around Islamic ways of schooling, whereas other schools in India follow conventional education. Princess of Wales Catherine Middleton on Friday announced that she has cancer and is in the early stages of chemotherapy. In a recorded video message, Kate, as a widely known, disclosed that cancer was discovered while she underwent major abdominal surgery in January. The 42-year-old princess, however, did not disclose the exact nature of the cancer, but described the last few months since she went into hospital as incredibly tough for her and her family. Kate's office, Kensington Palace, in the meantime, said she was on a recovery pathway and the preventative chemotherapy had begun in February. The disclosure came after royal officials said in February that King Charles III was being treated for cancer, forcing him to cancel all public engagements. Harimau Muda looks sharp ahead of Under-23 Asian Cup. Sports after this breather.
Imarahkan Ramadan dengan pelbagai perkongsian jiwa dan rohani.
Akak terus melamar abang, jaga dia dengan keadaan yang halal. Saya dapat keredaan daripada suami untuk saya dapat keredaan daripada Allah SWT.
Tiba-tiba datang satu cahaya, datang daripada mana saya pun tak tahu, berbentuk manusia, berjubah putih, sangat tenang. Saya pun doa pada Allah, Ya Allah, adakah Islam ini agamaku?
ABC, Allah bagi cuti. Macam mana kami nak dapat malam Al-Qadar?
Tapi ada nampak Cici tak?
Mana nampak dia? Kak Abid pun baru sampai ni.
Kan dia pergi sekolah sendiri, Cici.
Angkat tak risau ke saya hilang?
Boleh cikgu jumpa dengan ibu?
Tapi ibu tak ada kat Malaysia.
This is my boyfriend.
Saya faham.
Untuk awak, saya izinkan.
Betul ke ni?
Saksikan mini-siri Hello, Saya Anak Uncle. Setiap Ahad 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kawan-kawan, jangan tinggal puasa tau. Jom temani Kak puasa penuh tahun ni nak. Jangan poting dan selamat berpuasa.
Sports now, football under-23 international friendlies. National Young Tigers edged their Indian counterparts 2-1 in a friendly match played behind closed doors in Kuala Lumpur on Friday. The Harimau Muda took the lead through T. Saravanan in the 33rd minute, before Muhammad Alif Zikri Zaini Anwar doubled their lead in the 48th minute. India narrowed the deficit through Chingangbam Shivaldo Singh in the 77th minute. Juan Torres Garrido's side are scheduled to play India in another friendly on Monday before leaving for Doha, Qatar to compete in the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup from April 15th to May 3rd. The competition is also a qualifier for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Malaysia are drawn in Group D with Uzbekistan, Vietnam and Kuwait, and only the top two teams in the group will advance to the quarterfinals. On to tennis, the 2024 Miami Open. Czech Tomáš Makáč stunned Russian fifth seed Andrei Rublev in straight sets to advance to the third round on Saturday. Makáč, ranked 60th in the world, powered to a 6-4, 6-4 victory just before a heavy downpour caused a suspension of play. He will face the winner of the match between Briton Andy Murray and Argentinian Thomas Martin Echeverry in the last 32. Joining him was Hugo Humbert. Humbert booked his spot in the next round by defeating Dutchman Botic van der Zandschulp 6-4, 6-3 in 1 hour and 26 minutes. The Frenchman will play the winner of the match between German Dominik Koepfer and Argentinian Sebastian Baez next. Coming up, 2 Singaporeans killed in freak crash.
Serikan hujung minggu dalam jalan-jalan cari makan Ramadan bersama dengan saya Nadia Hassanel. Gaulkan semua, lepas tu ambil semua benda. Inilah kepuasan berbuka puasa yang sebenar. Ui, cubalah tengok menu makanan di sini. Ui, dengan dia punya juicy dia lah. Yang diletakkan rempah, yang diletakkan kari. Memang penuh. Saksikan jalan-jalan cari makan Ramadan setiap Ahad 11.30 pagi hanya di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Pencalonan baru Muzik 39 minggu ini.
Mungkin ini salahku, maafkan aku.
Siapakah yang bakal menjuarai carta Top 20 Muzik 39 minggu ini?
Tersusun takdir.
Semuanya dalam Muzik 39 Ahad ini jam 12.30 hari di TV3 dan stream HD secara langsung di aplikasi Tonton.
Bulan puasa ni semua nak yang eksklusif kan? Roti john premium lah, air barang nombor 1 lah. Tapi nak bagi tahulah sebenarnya dekat Tonton tu ada yang eksklusif juga tau. Mestilah Tonton Up. Semua rancangan yang eksklusif ada dalam Tonton Up. Walaupun premium, murah je. Semua boleh subscribe sebab RM9.90 je. Siapa kata yang eksklusif tu mahal? Tonton Up murah je. Subscribe cepat tau. Langgan lagi layan.
Welcome back. A company director who claimed to be the owner of a bag containing over RM500,000, which was found in a shopping mall in Damansara recently, has not come forward to claim the money. Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan said the man in his late 40s has also failed to provide his statement when summoned to the Damansara police station. Hussein said police received a report from the company director on Thursday, asserting that the money was the company's business funds. The officer in charge of the Damansara police station had summoned the complainant to provide his testimony. However, the complainant failed to show up, citing various reasons such as being caught up with meetings and being unwell.
Jadi, pihak polis masih menunggu individu ni untuk datang berjumpa dengan Ketua Polis Balai Damansara untuk memberikan keterangan dan juga bukti-bukti yang berkaitan dengan pemilikan duit tersebut.
It was previously reported that a security guard at a shopping centre in Damansara found a bag containing cash at the parking lot. Checks then found that the bag contained banknotes of 50 and 100 ringgit denominations, with the total amount exceeding 500,000 ringgit. Subsequently, the police received a report from a company claiming ownership of the said bag. In Johor, a convoy of 8 Singaporean men heading for sahur in Pagoh, Muar turned into a tragedy when 2 of them were killed after their motorcycles were hit by a trailer on Saturday. Batu Pahat District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Ismail Dollah said the accident, which occurred at the North-South Expressway near Yongpeng, is believed to have occurred as the 8 men were riding in a convoy. During the journey, the tire of one of the motorcycles in the convoy reportedly burst, and the rider had stopped at the Yongpeng R&R area. Upon noticing the incident, the 7 riders in front of the rider had stopped their motorcycles and waited in the emergency lane. Shortly after, a trailer from the same direction lost control and entered the emergency lane and collided with the convoy group, resulting in 2 of them dying at the scene. The 2 deceased were 26-year-olds, while 4 others suffered severe injuries and were receiving treatment at the Sultanah Fatimah Specialist Hospital in Muar. The trailer driver, a 33-year-old local man, along with his 29-year-old assistant and one of the convoy riders, escaped unhurt. The trailer driver has been remanded for 3 days starting Saturday to assist in the investigation under the Road Transport Act. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as dozens of Belgian chocolate chefs presented a collection of surrealism-inspired Easter eggs, including one containing a small fish bowl. With that, I'm Hassanel. Thank you for tuning in and selamat bersahur.